Hey everyone, today we're going to jump way back in time to unpack a simple little story from the life of the Buddha. But don't let its simplicity fool you. It holds a really surprising answer to a question many of us still ask today. And here's the big question this whole story is going to tackle. Do you need to have some kind of special gift, supernatural powers, to really get to the truth? Well, as we're about to see, this ancient parable has a pretty powerful and maybe unexpected answer for us.
Okay, so let's meet our main character. Like a lot of great stories, this one starts with just one person who is on a mission, searching for something bigger than himself.
So, picture this. We're way back in ancient India, and there's this man, a guy with a really deep and genuine faith, who decides to pack up and start the most important journey of his entire life. His game plan was actually pretty straightforward. First, he built up this incredible faith in what the Buddha was teaching. That faith then lit a fire under him, inspiring him to set off on a journey with one single-minded goal: find the great teacher himself and become a monk. His devotion was everything. So he's traveling, right? And as night starts to fall, he means to find a place to rest. And this is where a random chance encounter in the most humble place you can imagine changes everything. He ends up finding shelter in an old barn for the night. And in there, in the quiet, he sees there's another monk already there. They're total strangers, just two travelers sharing a space, trying to get some sleep. Okay, now this is the crazy part. This is where we, the audience, know something our guide doesn't. From his perspective, he just sees another monk, a fellow traveler. But the reality? He is literally in the presence of the Buddha himself. He has absolutely no idea who he's about to share a conversation with. So they both settle in. And as they start to meditate, the Buddha notices something about this man. He can see his focus, his sincerity, and, well, he gets intrigued and decides to strike up a conversation. So the Buddha, remember, he's just acting like a regular stranger. He asks a simple question: whose teachings do you follow? And our guy, totally clueless, answers with so much respect: the monk Gautama. Actually, I'm on my way to find him right now. He felt so comfortable with this other monk that he called him Avuso, which is a respectful but also familiar term, kind of like calling someone friend or venerable sir between equals. And in this super casual way, he invites the Buddha to share some of his own thoughts. And so the Buddha accepts. He doesn't say who he is, he just starts to teach. He starts sharing the Dhamma, the very core of his message. As the man listens, you can just imagine the wheels turning in his head. The words the stranger is saying, they aren't just wise. They're on another level entirely, deeply and unbelievably profound. The more he hears, the more he realizes he's listening to something truly special. And then, boom, it clicks. A thought just crystallizes in his mind. This clarity, this depth of truth, this has to be from the Buddha. No one else on earth could speak like this. And that realization just hits him like a lightning bolt. He immediately falls at the Buddha's feet, completely overcome, and says, "I was so foolish. I called you friend. I was right here in the presence of the Buddha, and I didn't even know it." Wow. You can just feel the awe in those words. But this whole thing was way more than just a case of mistaken identity. See, in that one night, just from listening to the teachings, the man reached a really high level of spiritual insight. And this is where the lesson for all of us really comes into play. The original text makes a huge point of calling this man a Putujana. Now that's a key word. It basically just means an ordinary person. A regular Joe. He wasn't a king, he wasn't a famous scholar, he wasn't born with special powers. He was just like you and me. So this is the whole point. The story is living proof that profound wisdom is right there, accessible in the teachings themselves. You don't need to be some special, chosen one. You don't need supernatural powers or to be a meditation master. Understanding can come just from listening or from reading, with a mind that's open and sincere. And this isn't some modern spin on an old story, okay? This idea, this proof, has been around since the time of the Buddha. In fact, the source text even makes a point to address the average layperson directly, calling them yum, to basically say, hey you, this path is open to you too. You can understand this for yourself. Which really leaves us with something to chew on, doesn't it? If an ordinary guy in a barn could find true insight just by listening, then maybe, just maybe, the greatest wisdom we're all searching for is a lot closer and a whole lot more accessible than we think.